This is Ocala Talks with Tom Schmidt, bringing stories that are important to our community in and around Ocala. Plus, of course, a splash of sports as well. Now, here's your host, Tom.
Good Wednesday morning. Welcome to Hump Day. It is January 6, 2021. I'm Tom Schmitz coming to you live from the palatial studios of WOCA Radio, just outside the food court entrance to the Paddock Mall in the Brick City Beautiful, Ocala, Florida. Chilly Ocala morning. I woke up this morning at the homestead, 34 degrees. Every day, Galen Hall, look, I'm going to make him a college football coach. Every day, Galen, and I talk about how we do not like the cold. This is another morning where I don't like the cold, but I don't like a lot of things this morning that I'll get into later, mainly the state of Georgia that I call my adopted home. Galen, good morning to you, and I hope you're bundled up. It's a little chilly still.
Yeah, it's terrible. By the way, I'll take Galen Hall's retirement package.
Oh, 100%.
That would be just fine. That would be just fine.
100%. 100%. Hey,
he was a really good guy. I met him when I was in
really
high school.
Good guy.
He was a coach of the Gators,
yeah.
And got a really bad rap. They put everything onto him, but he's the one who started that turn from Charlie Pell's days, and Galen Hall had to pay the price for what Charlie Pell did.
Well, Galen Hall got credited for having the best team money could buy when it was really Charlie Pell's team.
Sure. And that was a good football team.
It was a good football team. I remember, a lot of people think 15 is Tim Tebow, but growing up as a kid, as a Gator fan in Florida in the early 80s, 15 was Wayne Peace. That's who we knew as 15.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
That's who we knew as 15.
He was the best Gator other than Spurrier at the time.
Oh, yeah.
Right? I mean, it was a no-brainer. Yeah.
No,
yeah.
They were winning 9 games a year under Charlie Pell. So,
Absolutely.
Wayne Peace was quarterbacking those guys.
Sure was. Yeah. He never even got a sniff in the NFL. I was always surprised by that.
Well, that was the day and age of remember, the 1980 Georgia Bulldog National Championship team? The starting quarterback on that team, his claim to fame was he made it to Double-A in baseball.
Right. You
people,
and I could have quarterbacked that Herschel Walker team.
People forget that Buck Ballou, who is now a sports broadcaster in Savannah, Ballou was the quarterback. And, he gets credit for the Lindsey Scott 93-yard touchdown that beat Florida. Yeah. But he threw the ball 3 yards. Lindsey Scott ran 94 yards.
Correct. Lindsey Scott, what a great call, though, by the way.
Larry Munson.
Play-by-play guy, man.
Larry
Munson's great. Nail boots. And
it's raining sugar from the sky.
Yeah, I had the interview of having him on my show all the time up in Jacksonville, and he was just
top notch.
What a treasure! What a treasure!
Top
and
notch.
And I know Buck Ballou a little bit. He always big times me, but I know him a little bit. But he made his claim to fame off of Lindsey Scott, and that was it.
Played in the Montreal Expos organization.
Yeah, but Herschel Walker, you and I could have been the quarterback of that team. Because let's remember, that was the year that Florida was down. Florida wasn't very good. Tennessee wasn't very good. That was right before Phil Fulmer got there. So there was a lot of weakness in the SEC back then. Alabama wasn't where they are now, obviously. So, they didn't play much of anybody that year, if I remember right, the year that Herschel won it. Herschel was untackleable.
Yeah, he was.
I just made up that word.
Wrightsville, Georgia, guy that, one of the nicest people you'll ever meet, by the way. Okay,
fantastic.
Just a great human being. And
he'll sign anything. He'll take any picture at any time.
Oh, yeah. And it was student body left, student body right, and dive up the middle. That was pretty much it.
Once in a while, they would do a toss sweep.
Right.
And the cornerback would run away.
I mean, he was a linebacker running the football.
So fast.
Oh, world-class speed. Remember, he could have made the Olympics as a sprinter if he hadn't been playing football, if he had just concentrated on sprinting. And remember, him and Willie Gault pushed a four-man bobsled to the first medal the U.S. had got in a very long time.
Correct. Absolutely right. Yeah, and people say, oh, that's not even. If Herschel would have lost, let's say, 15 pounds, he could have been the fastest man in the world.
Oh, 100% he could have been. 100%. But what I remember about that team, and people, everybody talked about Herschel and Lindsey Scott and Buck Bellew and how Florida had him on the ropes and that pass, the improbable 97-yard touchdown with their backs against the wall. What I remember about that team, and it's because I'm partial here. Don't get me wrong. I got a little partial reason to me. Is I remember they played in the Sugar Bowl that year, and they beat a team in the Sugar Bowl that year to win the national championship. A team who was averaging 37 points a game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they held them to 7. That junkyard defense was really why. You can say what you want about Herschel Walker, but you got to stop people too. And that defense was the best defense in the country that year, and it was led by a guy named what was that coach's name? Oh, Irk Russell.
Oh, the defensive side, yeah. I was like,
Irk Russell was the defensive coordinator at Georgia, and by the way, 2 years later, snubbed by Georgia when Vince Dooley retired. Georgia, thank goodness for us all Florida fans, hired Ray Goof. Golf, excuse me.
That's right.
They hired Ray Goof, and a little bitty school in South Georgia said, well, if Coach Russell's available, we'll see if he wants to start a program here. And in 1983, a little small school in South Georgia, 10 minutes before they were going to announce they were bringing football to this university, which was a college then, it wasn't a university. 10 minutes before, Coach Russell, this true story, Coach Russell looks over at Bucky, the athletic director, and goes, Buck, we got a football or anything to put up here on the table during this announcement?
Oh, that's fantastic.
And they go, oh, no. We don't. We got to go get one. They sent an intern across the street, a grad student across the street to go to the Kmart, which was directly across the street from Hanner Fieldhouse, and buy a Voight football. So when you go, if you watch the announcement, if you go on YouTube and watch the announcement of Georgia Southern announcing they're bringing football to the school, they have a Voight football in the front of the thing.
Nice and plasticky.
Because nobody remembered to get a football for the announcement that they were bringing football back.
Well, I don't want to get too deep at Georgia football, but I want you to look at one stat. Go back to that Georgia team and look at their time of possession.
Oh, yeah.
That's why that defense was so good.
Yeah.
In the Sugar Bowl, I think they had it 80% of the time.
They had it 77% of the time, yes.
Is that what? Yeah, it was crazy. And I'm like, because every time they got the ball, literally Herschel would gain anywhere between 4 and 18 yards.
Anywhere.
Because they had the safety so far off because they were scared. If he got through the line, he was just going to break away.
If he got through the front 7, he was gone.
Because the front 7 could pull him down after 4 yards.
Right.
Sometimes. And so they prevented the home run from Herschel Walker. And because of that, they just kept grinding it out. I think they only threw like 4 passes in that game.
It was ridiculous how little they threw. And a lot of people to this day say that they're under the curse of Erskine Russell because they should have hired Irk Russell as the head football coach at Georgia when Vince Dooley left. They didn't. Coach Russell, of course, comes to Georgia Southern. We win 3 national championships under Coach Russell, win 1 under Coach Tim Stowers, and then 2 under Paul Johnson, and the rest is history. We have 6 national championships at Georgia Southern. They have 1 at Georgia. And somebody told me yesterday, somebody said Georgia is the perennial. They're like the guy who's really good, but he can't quite beat the Nigerian that's better than him at the marathon, so they always finish second. That's Georgia since 1980.
That's awesome. That's pretty good. That's not terrible.
No.
That's not terrible.
No. Hey, we're going to take a break.
They're kind of like the Atlanta Braves.
A lot like the Atlanta Braves or the Buffalo Bills. Yeah.
Sure.
In that respect, You're 100% correct. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about Heisman Trophy, and for the first time in a very long time, I kind of think they got this one right. We'll talk about that next, right here on Ocala Talks with Tom Schmitz. Galen Unall from Life South. He's here because of the good folks at Penn Flooring and Palm Garden Health and Rehabilitation Center. We'll be right back after this short timeout.
Hi, this is JP from Penn Flooring here in Ocala. I would like to invite you to come in and visit our spacious showroom where we have solutions for every style and budget. From wall-to-wall carpet to hardwood floors and tiles, we have an unsurpassed selection of flooring. At Penn Flooring, we've provided quality customer service with a family touch for over 25 years. Visit our website at pennflooring.com or come by our showroom, 1201 Southwest 17th Street, just over the bridge. Penn Flooring, quality customer service with a family touch.
People ask me why I've worked at Palm Garden for so long, and I tell them it's the people. I love to hear the life stories, especially those from the greatest generation. Celebrating life stories is what sets Palm Garden apart, finding out what's important to them. And I love being a resource. Like Macy's Santa, if I can't help, I'll send them to Gimbel's. After all, Palm Garden is located on 34th Street. I'm Jan from Palm Garden. Call me and let's chat. 854-6262.
Now you did it. Are you completely insane? He's back. He, who must not be named. The man, the myth, the only guy in Ocala to eat his own weight in fried pickles. Twice. Now, you asked for it. Sorta. Live and in person. It's Tom Schmitz.
Welcome back to Ocala Talks with Tom Schmitz on a Wednesday morning here in the Brick City, beautiful Ocala, Florida. Going to be a high of 68 today. Going to warm up a little sunny, no cloud in the sky morning. Beautiful morning except for the temperature. Galen Unall's on the phone with us from Life South, brought to you by the good folks at Penn Flooring. Family owned and operated, serving Marion County for over 30 years. Penn Flooring is a full-service flooring company. They have experience in both commercial and residential fields. Go see their showroom at 1201 Southwest 17th Street in Ocala, or give them a call at 352-351-3420. Also, we'd like to thank Palm Garden Health and Rehabilitation Center, located at 2700 Southwest 34th Street. They offer skilled nursing, physical, occupational, and speech therapy. If you got any questions about Palm Garden or how they're handling COVID-19, give them a call, 352-854-6262. Now let's go back out to the phone lines to Galen Unall from Life South. Galen, you know my intro music that Dan made me there with the backdrop of something that sounds eerily like Slim Shady. It's not, but it sounds eerily like it. Reminds me, the producer of that album for Eminem shows me that immortality is still a ways off, because I'm 54, the producer of that song is 55, is in stable condition in the intensive care unit in California after suffering an aneurysm. Dr. Dre, you know, a guy that's you thought's a tough guy, just shows you no matter how tough you are, your body can grab you and bring you back to reality. Dr. Dre in the hospital in stable condition in intensive care with an aneurysm.
Yeah, you know, and the scary thing about aneurysms or strokes, or an aneurysm can cause a stroke, and they can just, you know, it's just a blood clot.
Yeah, you don't know it's there, and then all of a sudden you're just down.
Yeah, bang. Yeah, and it's scary. It truly is. It's scary. So, yeah, I think anybody who grew up in the 80s, I don't care what kind of music you listen to, Dr. Dre had a major influence on your life, especially the music world. And, you know, he's one of those guys who's crossed over into the mainstream. But, yeah, incredibly talented kid.
Look,
as a youngster when he was, you know, in NWA and as a producer.
On my,
you see his hands everywhere.
On my music mix that I write on my phone, that I plug in and play through my Bluetooth in the car and everything.
Your big time Cadillac.
Yeah. NWA, The Chronic by Dr. Dre, Eazy-E,
Sure.
Easy Does It. Anything Ice Cube does, it's all in my playlist, because that was in my wheelhouse. That was, you know, them and the Beastie, NWA, Eazy-E, Public Enemy, and the Beastie Boys, Run DMC, those guys, right in my wheelhouse. I graduated high school in 1985. You know what I mean? I was right in the middle of it.
Yeah.
And we wanted something besides we wanted something besides, and I ran or the Eurythmics or something. We wanted something different.
Sure. Well, as I've gotten at the time, it was Van Halen. You were listening.
Oh, I'm
to
a big Van Halen guy.
And that's what Kid Rock became, right? That guy who rapped at heavy metal.
Right.
And because growing up, you either had, what we called heavy metal, Van Halen or Twisted Sister or Rad or any of those groups, any of those hair bands, Def Leppard. I don't ever mention Bon Jovi because I don't consider them real music.
Yeah, I agree.
And then on the other end, you listen to, it was at the same time. The next song could be Gin and Juice.
100%.
Granted, it was in the 90s, but it's absolutely all day long at any party. And
you could hear me
doing the exact same
at
thing.
my house.
In fact, then stepping one step after the other anyway.
When I was in college or when I was in, high school and then college, you could hear Ice Cream Man by Van Halen, War Pigs by Black Sabbath, and then Tricky by Run DMC, back to back to back.
Sure.
It could happen.
Absolutely. And the same group enjoying the music. So,
yeah.
And it's our generation's version of Motown.
Yes.
Right? I was trying to explain this to somebody, because to this day, Motown still has a sound that when you listen to it, it's distinctive.
Oh, it is. And,
right?
and great,
very,
by the
very
way.
distinctive.
And great.
Yeah, of course. And then modern day, you had back then you had two forms of rap, right? East Coast versus West Coast.
Right.
East Coast sometimes is uplifting, a lot more political. West Coast was all about the gang life and the hood life. And then you got Tupac that came in there and changed the scene. But and again, I love Tupac. So, but I didn't like Biggie. It's crazy.
See, and I was a big Christopher Wallace fan and not that big a Tupac fan. I was a Biggie fan. I was a Biggie fan and not a Tupac guy.
I was a huge
remember
fan.
Tupac was in Arrested Development. He stood in the background in khaki pants and a button-up polo in the Humpty Dance song.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
He wasn't Thugalicious. He was in khakis and a button-up in the Humpty Dance.
And you listen to Mama or California.
But that was Dr. Dre and Tupac.
Exactly.
So
if you're on the West Coast, and you wanted Dr. Dre to be your producer.
Oh, 100%. 100% if you were on the way. And by the way, by the 90s, it didn't matter what coast you were on, you wanted Dr. Dre to be your producer.
Correct. Sure, absolutely.
So Dr. Dre in the hospital in stable condition with an aneurysm, speedy recovery to Dr. Dre, because that's my, that's my golden years. That's the time that you want to always hold on to is your 20s. And if Dr. Dre goes, that's a part of my 20s going with it right there. Hey,
we don't want our music stars to die of aneurysms. We want them to die of
right, like Sinatra, just drink himself, Jack Daniel himself to death. You know what
Elvis, same way,
right.
or maybe a plane crash, because that was the trend for
Leonard Skinner, Leonard Skinner, our gods. Buddy Holly, yeah.
Huh?
Hey, real quick before we get to the Heisman, I know we don't have a few minutes, but the only guy now that reminds me of Motown, and that's why I like him so much, I'm a huge, and now his name just slipped me, Bruno Mars fan, because he reminds me of a throwback to the James Brown days of Motown and everything. So big Bruno Mars fan too right now. That's my guy right now. Hey, last night the Heisman given out to Devontae Smith, wide receiver from the University of Alabama. You know, it was refreshing to see somebody besides the hot-handed quarterback of the year win this award finally.
Okay. My guy was Trevor Lawrence because there is no football season without Trevor Lawrence.
He missed 2 games.
I get it, but there is no football season without Trevor Lawrence. Because he's the biggest voice up from the player side in the game, and he came out and made that what I thought was a beautiful, eloquent statement, and it changed the conversation because before that, there was no college football. I think everybody had kind of decided, and then he came out, made that statement, and then, 2 days later, the ACC and the SEC decided they were going to play.
Do you think, though, that he may not have won the award because, and I've talked to people I know some voters, my years of being in sports talk radio, I know some voters.
Yeah.
I talked to a voter, and they said, I put him on my ballot. He was on my ballot. He was number 2 on my ballot, and I put him on there. But I feel like he's coming back, so it'll be there for him next year. Now,
all right.
Do you think that's a legitimate position?
No. I saw Pat Dooley's list. He didn't even have him in the top 3.
Yeah, but Dooley's an idiot.
He had Kyle Trask as one.
Yeah, but Dooley's an idiot.
All you need to know about Pat Dooley.
Dooley's an idiot.
He is. We're agreeing a lot today. We're going to have to come up with something.
I'll have to tell you one day off the air my Pat Dooley story. And everybody has one. Everybody has a Dooley story.
I could, mine's pretty easy.
He tried to big time me somewhere one time, and somebody much bigger than him or I kind of put him in his place for trying to big time.
Oh, you shared this story at the golf tournament.
At the Players Championship. Yeah.
Yes, you did.
Yeah.
Nick Faldo, if I remember correctly.
Sir Nick Faldo.
Yeah, Sir Nick Faldo. Yeah.
Kind of put him in his place.
I do understand why they gave it to him. I think he was by far and away the best college football player this year, if you look at, because he played every game. I just think that, I do think Trevor Lawrence is coming back. But it's hard for me to move past his impact on the game. Again, there is no college football if Trevor Lawrence and then Justin Fields, who are really good friends, came out and said the same, close to the same thing.
Well, and you and I
Trevor Lawrence was the voice that got everywhere.
You and I talked about how I didn't think Ohio State belonged because of the games they played, and then I forgot. I'd forgotten when I was making that argument, and then I was reminded of it this weekend. Ohio State wanted to play. It was the presidents of the Big Ten. The Ohio State, I remember now, Ohio State's coach come out and said, that's a travesty. We should be playing football.
Absolutely. And again, you look at it like Northwestern, Illinois, and those presidents said, we should not put these kids in harm's way. We're going to kill people, right? Because they were making it a whole lot worse than the reality on the ground, and they were making a very much a political statement. And Ohio State was like, we'll play. And remember, Nebraska was willing to leave the Big 12 over it.
Yeah, they were willing to go.
And I think, and a lot of people are like, how selfish is that? It's bigger than that. Football for a lot of these kids, it's their whole world. And
100%.
And when you take that away, I mean, that's why you look at the suicide rates, and depression is way up, and alcoholism and drug abuse is way up during this. And you can't take that. You can't take away what someone loves for that weak of a reason. They did nothing wrong. All these kids do is live their life to play football. Yeah, I get it. They're student athletes, but they're athletes.
Hey, we got 5 seconds. Tell us where the Bloodmobile is.
Yeah. Hey, we're at the Walmart out there on 200 at Easy Street, so please get out there, give the gift of life, and donate blood.
Galen Unall, thanks so much. Talk to you tomorrow, pal.
You're the best, man. Thank you.
WOCA, The Source.
USA Radio News with Lance Pry.
Democrat Raphael Warnock is projected by numerous news outlets to defeat Republican Senator Kelly Loeffler in one of the 2 crucial Senate runoffs in Georgia. Loeffler has not conceded. The race between John Ossoff and Senator David Perdue is still too close to call, with 99% of the precincts reporting. Kenosha, Wisconsin was prepared for unrest, but none materialized after prosecutors said Tuesday no charges will be filed in the shooting of Jacob Blake by police officers in late August.
And it is my